performing stock in the S&P 500 so far this year, despite the fact that it had dropped almost 30 points from its peak. What took place to revive this dormant stock? What about this? CEO Jensen Huang addressed some unanswered questions regarding the company's Blackwell supercomputer processor, which has been the subject of conjecture over poor performance, lost chances, and, less realistically, concerns regarding the true market for AI technology. Nvidia is the target of more than its share of fabrications in a market full of them. Jensen made the decision to make amends. Okay, pay attention. I'm making time on my calendar to speak with you one-on-one about your financial future and even to visit CNBC studios. There are just a few seats left, so click the link below to book yours before they disappear. A fireside discussion with David Solomon, CEO of Goldman Sachs, will take place on Thursday as part of the company's Communicopia Plus Tech Conference. We aren't telling the story correctly. According to the man I nicknamed Da Vinci, since he is a contemporary Renaissance man. In addition to being at the forefront of the AI, artificial intelligence revolution, Nvidia is also the industry leader in accelerated computing, where its GPUs will eventually replace nearly all of the older, slower chips. Two main ideas. For days, David's words caused the stock to soar. Nvidia's bears and ignorant critics have been claiming that the company's groundbreaking Blackwell chip is too difficult to produce and may not be able to be mass-produced before 2024. False. Hear what Jensen had to say. Blackwell is in full production, and we are ramping it up here. We'll begin scaling in Q4 and into the next year after shipping in Q4. Everyone wants to be the first, and there is a lot of demand for it. The most is what everyone desires. The level of intensity is truly remarkable. Talk about comforting phrases. And what do you know? These statements were much needed by the sick doctor bull market. Before you know it, Nvidia's stock is soaring, as are its fellow passengers, including the previously mentioned Broadcom. After reporting a highly criticized quarter, Broadcom was completely destroyed. Did you realize that Broadcom's price today surpassed its previous position prior to the previously mentioned quarter, which I told you was positive? In any case, the once despised one appears to be changing from an ugly duck to a stunning but irate swan. Ever notice how furious swans can get? We live in a very sentimental market, you see. It is dangerous to draw any other conclusion than that many companies that are doing okay will do much better when the Fed starts cutting rates, given the actions in stocks like Nvidia, Broadcom, or even JP Morgan. Additionally, the visceral positive action in alternative energy stocks may be related to Vice President Harris's stance on carbon emissions during last night's debate. It's true that stocks perform better when interest rates are lowered. In summary, I advocate for simplicity. Rate reductions are beneficial. Small rate reductions are excellent since they prevent panic and provide you a lot more rate reductions in the future. I regretfully come to the conclusion that individuals who were disappointed by the prospect of only 125 basis point rate drop next week are completely uninformed. Let's first please acquire some perspective. Despite posting a stellar quarter, Nvidia is still up 108% year-to-date. Are you aware that it continues to be the S&P 500's top performer? Broadcom is also no slouch. The stock of the $638 billion corporation, which you probably didn't realize was that large, has increased by about 23% so far this year. What is causing their shares to eventually roll over then? Due to a recent unfavorable narrative about AI. We are aware that the Magnificent Seven, those massive corporations known as the hyperscalers, have been investing a lot of money on AI infrastructure. Many individuals interpret the relative underperformance of Nvidia and Broadcom as evidence that they are spending excessively and that their business model is unsustainable. In actuality, Nvidia, which has lately emerged as the focal point of tech negativity, was what truly sparked things. How bad is it? I don't make this stuff up, all right. Today, there was a discussion on how long the Nvidia stock market bad market will go. The bear market? Even though it was down almost 30 points from its peak, they somehow failed to highlight that this stock is still the S&P 500's best-performing stock so far this year. What took place to revive this dormant stock? It is dangerous to draw any other conclusion than that they are struggling with production at scale, given the actions in stocks like Nvidia, Broadcom, or even JP Morgan. By the way, the visceral positive action in alternative energy stocks may have been related to Vice President Harris's position on carbon emissions during last night's debate. That makes perfect sense. However, the issue has essentially been resolved. It is a supply issue rather than a demand issue. Demand is soaring. Lastly, there are many who fear that we are on the verge of a recession, which could affect various electronic devices and affect the semis. However, an easing cycle will help the economy, and the Fed is set to lower interest rates next week. Purchase, purchase, purchase. Additionally, we received a very critical report from Oracle this very evening. Many of the positive developments coincided with the establishment of AI data centers. Well, not too awful. I believe that the semiconductor stocks have ultimately fallen off far too quickly. We still like this group for all the reasons we did earlier this year. The boom in AI spending is real. Oracle told us this evening that a significant amount of money is being invested to expand the infrastructure. More crucially, processors are not just about artificial intelligence. The semiconductor sector has been experiencing oversupply for the last few quarters, and now we're finally witnessing some outstanding sales growth. Yes, we are moving upward and have passed the point of equilibrium. In July, the semis experienced sequential sales gain for the fourth consecutive month. As we emerge from a supply glut, do you really want to leave this group? When you're entering one, you ought to do it. We should wait for the hot money to come out of that one, even though I would love to pound the table on Nvidia. Before the stock truly plummets, too many sunny patriots and summer soldiers, thanks Thomas Paine, need to raise the white flag. It was referred to as a no man's land today. That's nice. Additionally, among the other chip makers, you could discover greater reductions than Nvidia. AMD predicted $2 billion in sales for 2024 when it announced the MI300 last December. They increased product sales to $3.5 billion at the end of January. They increased it to $4 billion at the end of April. They raised it to $4.5 billion in July, the most recent time. For heaven's sake, what does the market want? AMD's most recent quarter was really rather excellent overall, with moderate sales, earnings that exceeded expectations, and better than expected projections for the current quarter. The announcement caused the stock to rise 4%. That seemed correct to me. However, that was just prior to the collapse of the yen carry trade, which destroyed the entire market. People seem to have forgotten about that fantastic quarter. Dead zones coming to an end. Hold on a minute. Nvidia wasn't even discussed. How can we, after all? I'm not sure how many minutes we spent there. What does the Nvidia partnership mean for T-Mobile customers? Of course. Today we made the decision to make a firm commitment. AI-RAN is the network architecture of the future. To realize the AI-RAN future, we're collaborating with Nvidia, Nokia, Ericsson, and other companies. All right, so it will take a few years. Although the 5G revolution has just been going on for around 5 or 6 years, we are already halfway through and are beginning to engage with our partners to design the future of networks so that everyone has a stronger signal. I don't have to give up on the Apple 16 in the meanwhile. As it happens, it's doing better than we anticipated, of course. I must therefore ask, isn't this a significant application of AI? Following the signing of a partnership agreement, Salesforce CEO Mark Benioff met with NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang last night. Jensen offered his thoughts on the state of artificial intelligence, an area he co-founded. The Salesforce AI agent plan was adored by Jensen. I promise you that he wouldn't have come if he didn't like it. Additionally, when Jensen discussed it, he stated, *, we haven't even scratched the surface of what we can be doing with artificial intelligence. * once more, I believe that we are overly pessimistic about some aspects of that. He went straight to the advantages of healthcare that we are currently enjoying, such as the ability of AI systems to treat incurable illnesses. Mark agreed. Let's examine this. *, I believe there will be a lot of scientific advancements over the next 10 years, including advances in digital biology, the ability to simply diagnose illnesses, and science in general. Today is Fed Day, so they are irrelevant. But trust me, they will. *, Mark also talked for a while about how businesses have already invested and lost billions of dollars using do-it-yourself software to build their own data centers. It's a huge waste of money. By the way, he likened Microsoft's Copilot to their infamous digital